Hello and welcome to another episode of the Top Tenor Show. I'm Liv and I'm joined by James. And today we have a single game review for you. So I'll throw it to James to let you know what we're talking about.
So it's long overdue. Liv and I, we were in the think tank and we're like, we need to review some games. And what better game to start with than a random roguelike game that I recommended to Liv after she said she enjoyed roguelikes, and that's Slay the Spire. So with our reviews, we're going to be breaking it down as such. We're going to be talking about gameplay. We're going to be talking about story, if there's story, and we're going to be talking about combat. And it's a roguelike, so there's a lot of combat. So with that, we're going to dive into this glorious game, which if you haven't played, spoiler alert, you should.
So, what is Slay the Spire? Well, it's a roguelike deck building game developed and published by Megacrit, which released in 2019 and it's 2024. So, we're a little late to the party here, but trust me, it's worth the wait.
She says we're late to the party. I unashamedly have over 400 hours into this game, so there's only one of us late to the party, and that's you, Liv.
I'm late to the party, okay? Okay, I'm a little late, but let's go.
So the gameplay for this game, it's very straightforward, and honestly, that's what makes it so enjoyable. So the gameplay, you're gonna pick from between one of 4 characters, and each character has their own unique skill set, their own unique way to play. From there, you pick what you want to start with. It could be you get a random card, you get a potion, whatever, and then you dive into a tower. There are 3 floors to this tower, each getting progressively harder and harder. You have chests, there's boss battles, and then there's regular battles. So to make your character more powerful, every battle you win, you're going to get a card. And that's where this just explodes, because there is infinite ways to enjoy this game. Each of the characters has, I want to say honestly, like 10 or 12 ways that you can play them. So the replayability is insane. I mean, you can ask Liv, like I legit got messages from her and she was like, I'm playing this with my friend. I hate you.
That's true. That is certainly true. But it's a little addicting. This game's a little addicting. You always think, oh, one more run, one more run.
And then before you know it, it's like, oh, damn, it's 2 a.m.
That's happened to me one too many times.
I like that you're readily admitting that, It takes big effort to admit your problems. Unlike our normal reviews where we're going to go into story, like there's no story here. This is legit roguelike, get in there and go. So we're going to dive into what makes this game great, and that's the characters. So there are 4 characters that Liv and I are going to be discussing, and we're going to start off with the very first one. So more than likely, you're going to start the game off, your very first playthrough, you're going to be playing with the Ironclad. So every character has a unique starting relic. Think of relics as items that give you really powerful bonuses. You have a starting one, and then you can get more of them from boss battles or elite battles. So the Ironclad, he heals after combat. Outside of that, he is a tank. If you've played with a tank in any game, that is what this guy is. He is straight up, I take the damage, I heal the damage. He hits big, and he blocks big. So the way the game works, every combat you're going to have either a skill card, an action card for attack, or you're going to have a defense card. The Ironclad takes it to the extreme, because normally after you apply block, whatever's not used drops at the end of the turn. He legit has cards that will let him keep his block and use it for attack. For example, deal damage equal to your block. Like, what's not to like about being a tank that can actually dish it out finally? He's very cookie cutter when it comes to this game, and I understand why. Like, they wanted to give you a very soft starting point, because the debt that, like, after you beat this game, it dials it up to 11, because then every run after is called Ascension. Bosses are stronger, you heal less, you start off damaged. I've never gotten past Ascension 10, and it annoys me because I think there's like 30 levels of Ascension, and I really, really want to say I beat the game at that, but whoo, boy, does it get hard. And the Ironclad, he's there for it because of his tankiness and his just insane damage ability. Every card has the ability to be upgraded. So you can say you're dealing 7 damage. You can upgrade it to like 10, 11 damage. He has cards that can be upgraded infinite times. So if you want the nice starting off point, you don't want to get too overwhelmed with strategy, play the Ironclad. He's straightforward. He tanks big, he hits big, and he heals so you don't die.
James says that he can go all the way to 30. He's hoping I can't even beat the game with this character. The Ironclad, I feel like I don't know if it's down to RNG or what, but I just can't. I always get to the boss. I can't beat him with the Ironclad, and I don't know what's wrong. But I feel like I try to go very attack heavy, and maybe I have to balance it out because I just can't hang on long enough in that last boss fight.
I mean, you can attest to this. You will be punished if you go too heavy attack, you go too heavy defense. The bosses and elites will punish you. And his simplicity makes that part a little challenging, so it's okay, Liv. You're going to get this today after this episode.
Oh, maybe. Certainly try.
Once you have this game down, that's when the other characters just burst onto the scene. And honestly, this next character, I can't do it justice, so I gotta hand it to my girl Liv here because she's gonna tell you what's silent and deadly.
The next character we're going to talk about is the Silent, who draws extra cards to start. And honestly, this is the first character I beat the game with. So, my strategy for the Silent is this character can poison the other enemies. So, poison in this game works with, at the beginning of each turn, the enemy will take damage equal to the stacked poison damage. So if you have 3 poison cards, play them all, and each round, after each round of combat, it will take poison damage and it will subtract by 1. So if you stack up 9, you'll get 9 damage. Then the next round, it will go down to 8. And you keep taking that, stack that damage. That is my tactic. And also, the other card I go for is the Shiv, which is a 0-cost card. It will deal 4 damage and then exhaust. And exhaust in this game means you can play the card for this combat, and then you can't use it again until the next combat you go into. So, for some characters, you kind of want to use them sparingly, but for the Silent, I will try to pick up as many Shiv cards as I possibly can, and as many poison cards. So when I do exhaust them, I'm still giving a lot of damage each turn. But, James, does that stack up with how you would play the Silent?
Yeah, so when you figure out these strategies, everyone, that's when you can abuse and break them. So we talked about relics. The Silent has 2 really powerful relics. One, everybody starts off with 4 poison. He has another relic where every time you do poison, you add an additional poison. So you can get cards where whenever you deal unblocked damage, they get 1 poison. So now it's 2 poison. Then that just adds up real fast with the Shivs. He's very, for those of you like listening and wondering like what the heck we're talking about here, he's like a rogue on steroids. That's the best way I can describe it. He's gonna fling hundreds of Shivs, pray to God he doesn't die, and just keep going. You can also abuse him, Liv, if you haven't tried this yet, and this is for all of you out there, with discard mechanics. He has some cards where if you've discarded a card, gain 2 energy, draw 2 cards. He's really fun because this is where the game starts to break open. Instead of being straightforward, just attack and tank, now you have to think, am I poisoning? Am I going to go for 0-cost cards? It's really, really fun to see, and honestly, you hit it to a T.
The first character that I felt like I was abusing the game with was the Defect, which I like to call Orby, because he has 3 slots above him where you can channel an orb for different things. There's Channel a Lightning, which will deal lightning damage. Frost will add to block. Plasma gives you extra energy, and then the Heavy Hitter, which is the Dark Orb, will charge up, and once he gets to the front of the line, you can do heavy damage. But what I like to do is I like to just channel my lightnings for passive damage, try to get those cards where you can add more orbs. I think you can add up to 5 total, maybe more.
You can have up to 10 orbs, actually.
Haven't made it up to 10, but you know, one day I will. But where I spammed and abused his powers were those 0-cost claw cards. So the claw card, you just give them a little scratch, but every time you do it, it adds more, it stacks damage. So the next time it will start off with 3, then the next time it will go up to 5. And if you have like 10 cards, you're really stacking that damage. And then the best part about this is getting either scrape or all for one. So the scrape, this is kind of like plan B, because all for one, you know, I think that one's much better. But scrape will deal 10 damage. You'll draw 4 cards and discard all your 0 cost cards. So you're hoping that you got a bunch of claws there, just go boom, 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 boom. But all for one, if you have all the claw cards in the discard pile, this will deal 10 damage and put all the 0 cost cards from your discard into your hand for that turn, which is extremely clutch.
Scrape, don't worry about too much about scrape. Focus on all for one, because scrape may discard some cards you actually need to survive. So be very cautious with those scrapes, ladies and gentlemen.
It's plan B. That's why it's plan B. Plan A, trying to get that all for one. But sometimes you just don't have any say over what cards you're going to find in the shop or after a battle. So that's why we have to have multiple ideas going.
Yeah, the RNG gods are not friendly in this game. Straight up. Outside of that, we have one final character, and it's the weirdest one, so we saved the weirdest one for last, not the best for last. And that's the Watcher. So the Watcher's gimmick is she goes between 3 stances, technically 4. You have your normal, like everyone else. She can go into what's calm, where she can get extra block. When she leaves that stance, she gets 2 additional energy. She goes into Wrath, which she takes double damage, but she deals double damage. Or the best stance, which is Divinity. When you've gained 10 mantra, so you'll have cards that'll give you mantra, you enter Divinity, where you deal triple damage, you get triple your starting energy, and then you also don't take additional damage. So there's no downside to Divinity like there is Wrath. And she's the weirdest because her synergies are there. For example, she has 0 cost cards that come back to your hand when you change stance, so you can abuse that. She has cards when she also gives you scrying, so you can look at your cards in your deck and what you don't need coming up, you can just pitch to your graveyard. Like, she has all the powerful abilities. It's just clunky, and that's the nicest way I can put it. I have personally only beaten the game twice with this character, so out of the 4, she's the weakest. So she doesn't get much love until I figure out how to break her. So stay tuned for Watcher Part 2 one day when I figure out how to break her.
Yeah, well, I haven't even gotten to the boss with this character, so I'm going to reserve judgment for you to tell me how I'm supposed to do it.
We shall watch and see, because now that we have talked about Slay the Spire, it's honestly, it's the most important part that y'all are here for. So with our single game reviews, Liv and I, we're going to let you know. We're going to play or pass. Should you play this? Did Liv and I just like torture ourselves playing this so we could talk about it for you? Or is this one you should, just like pass on grass and be like, whew, thank God they did it. I don't have to do it. This is honestly a play. Straight up play. I've got 400 hours into it. Liv, I'm betting you're at like almost 100 hours.
It's getting there. It's getting there.
You don't want to say because you're not proud of your addiction. It's okay.
I think it's only like half, but I think I'm sitting at a good 50, so give me some time.
So, all right, moment of truth, Liv. Play or pass.
I'm playing.
So there you have it, ladies and gentlemen. You get two, count them 2, which is really horrible. We should probably, have more than 2 plays, but it's unanimous. You got to play this. If you're a fan of roguelikes, think Skull, Hades, Returnal, The Binding of Isaac, Risk of Rain 2. If that's your bread and butter, where your game is going to be different every single time and your experience is going to change no matter your playthrough, you got to play this. You can get it on all devices. You can even get it on your phone. You can legit get it on your phone.
How many platforms do you have that on?
I am not ashamed to admit it's free on PlayStation 5 if you have PlayStation Plus. I play it there. I have the physical copy on the Nintendo Switch. That's where I first experienced it. And I have it on my phone. So if I can get it 3 times, you can get it once.
I think James will finally put down Slay the Spire when Slay the Spire 2 comes out sometime on PC next year in 2025. Unless it gets delayed, but come on. So, what are you hoping that they add to this game?
Don't wreck what's already good. So give us what we have, improve it a little bit, give us more card variety, give us different elites. So I know we're at the end of our video, but I will say the only thing that can get a little frustrating, because all roguelikes suffer from this, is the infinite, oh, I've seen this before. Even if the run is different, you're encountering the same enemies, same bosses, same elites. So go into the enemy pool, go into the elite pool, go into the boss pool, and give us variety. Make it to where you're at the end of floor 1. There's one of 20 bosses you could fight. You don't know. Make the elite pool increase drastically because, like, legit, it's the same 4 every floor, which totally fine because they appear in different areas. But expand that and expand the regular enemy pool. Also, give us more cards. I'm asking for a lot, but it's okay.
I was thinking just add another playable character, but James is redesigning the whole game over here.
I pulled Gaming Einstein.
Well, I think that's a wrap for Slay the Spire. Thank you for checking out our single game review. Be sure to like, share, and subscribe to the Top Tenor Show. We release new videos every Friday. And we will see you next week.